think grief is one of the main reasons women start questioning clarity that was actually real. So a woman can be clear that the relationship hasn't been healthy for her, and then grief shows up and makes everything feel confusing again. It's not because she made something up or that she's being dramatic, because she's losing something that mattered to her, even if that something wasn't working. That's where I think we have to slow down. A lot of us were taught to see grief as a sign that something went wrong. So when we feel sad, we start looking for a way to undo the sadness. It's like survival. We wonder if we should go back, try again, soften our position, explain one more time, or give the relationship another chance. Grief can make the old familiar thing look safer than the new honest thing. But grief isn't always a warning sign. Sometimes grief is just the part of you that knows something is ending. And I want to be clear about what I mean by ending, because I'm not only talking about the legal end of a marriage or somebody moving out. Sometimes what ends is the fantasy that this relationship is going to become what you needed it to be. Sometimes what ends is the version of him you kept hoping would show up more consistently. Sometimes what ends is the belief that if you loved harder, prayed longer, explained better, or gave more grace, the whole thing would finally turn into the partnership you were trying to build. That kind of loss is real, and it can hurt like hell. I think that's what makes this part so confusing. You might not even want the same relationship back, but you still miss what you thought it could become. You might not feel safe or seen in the relationship anymore, but you still grieve the history. You might know the pattern isn't changing, but still feel sad about admitting that out loud. That sadness doesn't automatically mean you're wrong. It means something mattered. That's the part I want us to hold with some care, because a lot of women don't only grieve the person, they grieve the years. Somebody said 22 years. They grieve the family pictures. They grieve the holidays. They grieve the old hopes, the inside jokes, the version of themselves who believed this would turn out differently. And then, because women are women, here comes the self-blame trying to pull up a chair. Now you're sad. And instead of letting yourself be sad, you start interrogating the sadness like it's a witness on the stand. What does this mean? Am I wrong? Do I still love him? Should I try again? Am I being unfair? Is this God telling me to stay? Is this fear? Is this intuition? Is this me being weak? Girl, now we done turned one emotion into a full investigation. And I get it. When the stakes are high, it makes sense that you want to understand what your feelings mean. But every feeling isn't an instruction. Some feelings need to be heard without being handed the keys to the car. Grief can sit in the room. Grief doesn't get to drive. That's the difference. If you feel sad, let that sadness tell you something mattered. Let it tell you there was love there, or hope there, or history there. Let it tell you this isn't a small thing. But don't let grief rewrite the whole damn truth just because the truth hurts. Because that's where women get caught up. They feel the grief and forget the pattern. They miss the good moments and forget the cost. They remember the version of him from a better season and forget who they had to become to keep the relationship functioning. That doesn't mean the good moments were fake. I don't like it when people act like everything has to become trash just because the relationship no longer works. Some things were real, I'm sure. Some memories were good. Some love was there. Some parts of the story might always matter. But good moments don't erase a repeated pattern. That's a grown woman truth right there. A relationship can have love in it and still not be safe for your spirit. A person can have good qualities and still not be able or willing to meet you in the way partnership requires. You can miss parts of the life and still know you can't keep living inside the whole thing. That's not confusion. That's grief with the context. And I think this is where self-trust has to become steady instead of loud. It might not sound like you know exactly what to do and you feel amazing. It might sound more like, I'm sad, but I'm not going to use this sadness to lie to myself again. That's a powerful sentence, because the goal isn't to stop grieving. The goal is to stop making grief responsible for decisions it isn't qualified to make.